No. Um, Online student, can you hear me okay? Is it clear now? Very quiet. Let me try and move it up a bit more. Is it the same for everyone? Yeah.
I think it's better
Okay.
now.
Okay, so please let me know throughout if it cuts off or you can't hear me for whatever reason. Let me know. Either on the message here or just put a message on WhatsApp. Okay, so we are on last lesson. There's quite a few of you probably were online last week. Um, so everyone learn the pronouns best as we can. If I just test randomly now, and I say the attached pronoun, and you give me the detached pronoun. So, for example, I say to you, Anta, and you say, how we get that? So, like I said, the best way to learn pronouns or any vocab is flashcards. You put the detached on one side and the attached on the other side. So, but you have to get to the point where first you learn it, هو هما هم هي هما هن all the way, and you learn it as هو become who, هما become هما, أنت become هما, and you become هم. Um, this is just my. No, first time it was okay, and then it went off again. Bismillah. It cut off.
It's usually without it, yeah.
Which one am I removing this?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're just trying a different way. Let me know. We'll try and get through it today.
This is better.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that for now then. Okay, so like as I was saying, so the pronouns, learn it. I know I've given you a few weeks, and by next week when we start doing the verbs, I definitely need you to know huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, because pronouns come everywhere. Like when you're reading Quran, when you're reading Arabic, every sentence almost either it's gonna have a attached pronoun, detached pronoun, or a hidden pronoun. So you need to know your pronouns. That being said, the last thing that we learned just before we finished was the word al. What does the word al do to a word? Makes it definite. What effect does it have to the ending of the word? Yeah, so it only affects the tanween, doesn't affect the noon. Okay, so we have, for example, qalamani, we still say al qalamani, 2 pens, the 2 pens, whereas qalamun becomes al qalamu. So wherever there's tanween, the tanween goes. Then we have, so we have the al, and if you look at the al, there's 2 parts. There's the alif and there's the lam. Okay, so we said sometimes that lam in the al, we pronounce it, sometimes we don't pronounce it. So for example, when we say the word ash-shamsu, we said ash-shamsu, the lam's there, but we're not pronouncing the lam. Right? When I say al-qamar, I'm pronouncing the lam or not. When I say al-qamar, I'm pronouncing the lam in the al. Whereas ash-shams, I'm not pronouncing the lam. But the lam's there, the lam's not disappeared. So we said there are shamsi letters, meaning where if you just remember the word ash-shams, you know you're not pronouncing the lam. And there are qamari letters, lunar letters, al-qamar, where you're pronouncing the lam. Okay? And we said, again, Quran helps. If you read a lot of Quran, then you don't really need to learn which letters are shamsi, which letters are qamari. But as a hint, we said, just see the messages if that's clear. Okay. So if you have a look, where did we say?
So where are we till on? Because I'm sorry, I couldn't go through the recording of last week.
So we're on to the end of type where the al part, the al discussion is. So we say, so so shamsi letters, the tip or the blade of the tongue is involved. So like so again, this is a bit of tajweed, the letters which come from the tip and they touch the teeth, those letters are going to be most likely shamsi letters. There might be an exception with some letters there. Where the tip isn't involved, so your letters of the throat, and the letters of the lip, you could say, those will be where you pronounce the lam in the al completely. So that's just a tip. I think with more learning and reading and practicing, you'll kind of figure out. You will know that abbabu is incorrect, al-babu is correct. So with time, I think you would learn it, or you just learn the letters as you as they are shown in this. But do we understand what we mean by qamari and shamsi? Shamsi, we don't pronounce the lam. Qamari, we pronounce the lam. And you have, it's divided almost equally, yeah, 14 on each side. And inshallah, with time, you will learn that. Now, the other thing is, now that al that you have, that alif in the al is what we call hamzatul wasl. Okay? So we're learning in this lesson very, very briefly that there are two types of hamzas. One is a hamzatul wasl, and an example of that is in the al, and we have hamzatul qat. Now, what is the difference between the two? As stated earlier, hamzatul wasl is pronounced. Have we mentioned it earlier? Maybe not. Okay, so let's start from the top. So note the a of the al, meaning the alif of the al, is pronounced only when there is nothing before it. So if you're starting the sentence off with a word that starts with al, you're going to pronounce the a of the al, right? You're going to say al. Whereas if there is something before the al, then you don't pronounce the alif, but it's still written. So for example, we have the word al-baytu, and I put the letter, or any other word, I put the letter wa before it. We're not going to say wa al-baytu. We're going to say wal-baytu. So that hamzatul wasl, so the role or the function of hamzatul wasl is, it's written, it's only pronounced when you start this sentence with it. So for example, I say al-baytu. If it's the first word I say, then I pronounce the a of the al. But if I'm going to put another word before al-bayt or before the al, for example, the word min, actually I'll leave the word min for now, we stick to wa. Then we say wal baytu. In wal baytu, if you look at it, the alif is there. We haven't, got rid of the alif. The alif is still there, but we're not pronouncing the alif. We say wal baytu. We go straight into the lam. Or if it was ash-shamsu, you say wash-shamsu. Okay. So that's what hamzatul wasl does. So there are other words that you're gonna come across, like the word ibn, the word ism. So there are certain words which start with hamzatul wasl. So what happens? You don't pronounce the alif, but you write it. Whereas hamzatul qat is like the one where you have a little everyone knows what ayn looks like, right? The letter ayn. If you cut off the ayn from the neck, it leaves you with a little, what we call a hamza. So when you see that on top of the alif, that's the hamza al-qat. So what does it look like? It looks like, do we have it here? Yeah, so it looks like this. You see that there? And you see it here as well. So you see it on top of the alif or the underneath it. When that happens, regardless of what comes before it, you're going to pronounce that alif. So you're not going to say wana. If I put wa before ana, you're not going to say wana. You're going to say wa, ana. Okay? So that's only for hamza al-qad. When you see this little hamza on top of the alif, you pronounce ana always as ana, whether it's in the beginning or whether it's at the middle, or whether it's at the end, you pronounce it. Whereas when you have hamzatul wasl, you only pronounce it when it's in the beginning of the sentence or when there's nothing preceding it. So there are like other words that we will learn which have hamzatul wasl. So if you look at the word al here, you've got the word ibn, ism, istaghfara, verbs which are commands start with hamzatul wasl. So sometimes hamzatul wasl, you just see it as an alif with just a haraka. Sometimes you see it with like this, a little sad on top of it. You might not see that. Sometimes it's not written. So the best way to know is just learn the words as you go along. So the word ism, ibn, when we learn commands, we'll come on to that. Sometimes it has a sad, sometimes it doesn't have that. Whereas hamzat al-qat, most of the time it will have that. Or you know the word ana, and you will know that it's hamzat al-qat. Okay, everyone clear with the difference? This is more of a spelling and pronunciation thing. Okay, now there's one more thing. Again, this will come with practice. What happens when we have two words coming together? One ends with a sukoon and the other one starts with a sukoon. So for example, you have the word so yeah, you've got this word here. You've got the word min, and really it's al-bayt, right? But what did we say about the word al? When there's something before it, you don't pronounce the alif. So we're left with a situation where we've got noon, the word min is ending with a sukoon, and the word next to it is starting with a sukoon. We want to join the two up. So that's what the definition, that's what iltiqa sakinain means, the meeting of two sukoons. So now we want to join it up, and you could say min al-bayt, it's not incorrect. But if you want it to flow a bit and you want it to join up, as you will see when you're reading Arabic, how do I join? Yeah, so the rule is, yeah, it should work most of the time. You look at this letter here, so before the sukoon, if it's got a kasra here, you're going to put a fatha there. If it's the other way around, if it's got a fatha on the, for example, if it was man, if it was a fatha, you're going to put a kasra on it. So it becomes minal bayt or manil, if it was man, for example. So that's the rule. So if it's got a kasra here, you're going to put a fatha there. If it's got a fatha, you're going to put a kasra. And that's how you join it up. Okay. I think that's what the rule is. The sukoon is changed to a fatha if it's preceded by, yeah, and then the other way around. Yeah. Okay, so that's the fatha kasra rule. And then you have the dhamma. So sometimes it doesn't start with the letter before, doesn't have a kasra, doesn't have a fatha, it has a dhamma. So for example, your pronoun hum, you've got a dhamma before the sukoon. What's going to happen on the meme? You're going to put a dhamma on it. So you're going to say humul. Okay, so sometimes you will see it like that, hum. So you're not going to say hum al-mudarrisun. You can say that, but better to say humul mudarrisun. Again, this is something that you're going to pick up over time. hum and antum. Okay, so these are just some spelling rules and pronunciation. And inshallah, you're gonna pick that up later on. So today's main lesson, I think next week, I think we will be in a position, we start at 9:30, we'll do some reading. I'll send you the PDF of the book that we'll follow. It's a very common Arabic book that everyone uses. So we're just gonna use it, not for the grammar, we're just gonna use it for the reading practice. So this is simple sentences, and we're learning this at a very basic level. Now, what makes a sentence? A sentence is made by, as soon as you say the word is, and you have a part before the is, and you have a part after the is. That's what makes a sentence. So for example, I say, the pen is broken. Is that a sentence? Yeah. What if I say the broken pen? No. Now, how do I make the broken pen? By adding a word to it. How do I make the broken pen into a sentence? Give me another. Turn that. Instead of saying the pen is broken, use the term the broken pen and make that into a sentence. What would you say in English?
The broken pen is on the table.
Yeah. You just need something before is, and you need something after is. But we're going to be making, for now, sentences just using 2 words only. So in Arabic, there's no word for is. That doesn't exist. So you have to insert that when you're translating it. And there are certain conditions. Once those conditions are met, the word is can be introduced. If it doesn't meet those conditions, then the word is not going to be found. So there's no word for is. Once you know the conditions, the word is will come itself. So what are those conditions? So we've got a part before the is, and we've got a part after the is. I don't think it's mentioned here, but you can write it down. The part before the is something in Arabic we call mubtada. Okay, I think we learn it later on, but there's no harm in mentioning it now. And then we'll when we come across it, we'll remember it. So mubtada. Mubtada basically just means something that starts the sentence or the main topic of the sentence. So mubtada comes from like ibtida, which is to kind of begin. And then the part after the is called the khabar. Everyone know what khabar means? Yeah, like news, khabar. So the part after the is, the khabar, gives you information or news about the part before the is. So the khabar tells you more about the mubtada. That's the first thing. Okay, so that's the first thing. Mubtada, so let's use the term mubtada khabar. So if I say mubtada, which part is that? Before the is, and khabar is? So I'm going to use those 2 terms now, okay? The mubtada has to be definite and the khabar has to be indefinite. Okay, that's the rule. There are exceptions, but this is the rule. So that's the first thing. Mubtada has to be definite, which means what? What can it start with? What else?
Yeah.
D.
How many types of words do you have? I thought someone's behind me then. How many types of how many types of types do we have? Sorry, definite. How many types of definite do we have?
7.
Yeah, so it can start with any of those 7. So al is the most common. What are the other ones? Pronoun.
A pointer.
Pointer. For example, hada. We're going to be doing hada next time.
Yeah.
Proper noun. So the most common way is al, and then you can say pronoun after that. Okay, so it can start with one of those 7. So the mubtada has to be definite and the khabar has to be, what do you think? Indefinite. Okay, so that's the first condition. Mubtada definite and the khabar has to be indefinite. Okay. How many things about the ism have we learned? 4. What are they? Case ending, number, gender, type. So we're going to use all those 4 things to help us make a sentence. And so far we've only discussed what?
Gender.
No.
No.
What's definite and indefinite to do with? The last thing, type.
Right.
So what was the first thing? Case ending. Okay. So the case ending for mubtada and khabar, most of the time it is rafa. Okay, so that's the first thing. So it has to be rafa. The mubtada has to be definite, khabar has to be indefinite, which leaves you with what 2 things? Number and gender. And the number and the gender, the rule with number and gender is that the number and the gender of the mubtada and the khabar has to be the same. What does that mean? If the mubtada is masculine, the khabar has to be masculine. If the mubtada is feminine, the khabar has to be feminine. If the mubtada is dual, the khabar has to be dual. So it has to agree in the number and it has to agree in the gender. Both of them have to be rafa. The only part where it's slightly different is where the type. The type, one is definite and the other is indefinite. Whereas all the other 3, both of them are rafa, both of them are either singular, dual or plural, both of them are either masculine or feminine. So the first 3 things they agree in almost. I don't want to say agree, they only agree in number and gender. Case ending sometimes can be different. But type, definite and indefinite. So let's look at some examples. So let's look at the word al-kitab. So we've got 2 words. What's the first thing you notice when you look at al-kitab jadidun? Immediately. Definite versus indefinite. So you've got a word that is definite and indefinite. I know we discussed definite. How do you make a word indefinite? So add a tanween, or you don't have an al. Sometimes a word may not have a tanween at the end, right? You just need to make sure that it doesn't have what? An al. Just make sure you don't put an al on it. Okay. I'll go through exceptions at the end, but that's the general rule. So first one is definite, second one is indefinite. What are the other conditions? Yeah, so al-kitab is singular, jadid is singular. Kitab is masculine, jadid is masculine. And al-kitab is rafa, and jadid is rafa. Once those conditions are met, you say al-kitab is jadid. So the word is isn't there, you're inserting the word is. So the book is jadid. What's the meaning of jadid?
Good.
New. The book is new. So mubtada is, for now, mubtada is the part before the is, and the khabar is the part after the is. Mubtada is the main topic. So in this sentence, al-kitab is the main point of discussion. Jadid is the khabar. Yeah, you can use subject, predicate terms as well, but
So one has to be definite and the other has to be.
that's usually the case. Yeah, there might be some examples where that's not the case, but that's the general rule. So you got an explanation there. The word al-kitab is definite because it's got an al. The word jadid is indefinite because it has a tanween. And then once those conditions are met, you insert the word is in there. So al-kitab is jadid. So you look at the word ana talibun. Ana is what? Your pronoun. Which type of pronoun? Is it detached or is it attached?
Attached.
Yeah,
Ad-
detached pronoun. And what did we say about pronouns? That when you're on their own, they don't have the is, but when we're translating sentences, huwa really means he is. Hiya means she is. Anta means you are. Ana means I am. So with pronouns, generally, you most likely it's going to be a sentence. So ana means I am. But if we don't look at that, we say ana is definite because it's one of the 7. Talibun is indefinite. And then is ana rafa?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's all the detached pronouns. We said it's okay to say rafa for now. Talibun is also rafa. Ana is singular, talibun is singular. Ana is masculine or feminine, depending on who's speaking. Talibun is masculine. So you found mubtada and you found a khabar. What happens then? You insert the word is or the equivalent of is. So here, I am a student. Okay? So you got here a few more examples. Al-qalamu maksurun. The pen is broken. Al-babu maftuhun. The door is, sorry, the pen is broken. The door is open. Hum muslimuna. I want someone to change this, hum muslimuna, and I want you to make the sentence into dual. I want you to say both of them are Muslims. How would you say that?
Huma
What pronoun?
muslimani.
Huma muslimani. So they have to agree in number. Now make that dual and make it feminine. So at the moment you're going through the chart. So eventually I need you to just come out with the word.
Huma muslimatani.
Yeah, good. How would you say they are Muslims, but feminine, plural? So again, use the right pronoun. Hunna. No, so plural. What's the plural of Muslimuna? The feminine version. Sorry.
Muslimatun.
Yeah. So
Mat.
hun muslimatun. So you're keeping it rafa. Okay. Now the last one's a bit tricky, but I want you to look at it and then tell me what's going on with this one. You probably have it in your books already, so try not looking at the explanation. Al-buyutu kathiratun. I'm going to do 2 parts with you first, and then I'm going to leave the 2 parts for you to discuss. Is al-buyut definite? Kathir is indefinite? That's one tick box. Second thing is, are they both rafa? Yeah, second box tick. What's left? Gender, number, and gender. So I want you to look at the number of al-buyut and kathira. And just remember that yeah, so these you're already thinking the right things. Al-buyut is a plural and it is irrational. What happens with those words? You treat them as singular feminine. So you have to pretend as though you're looking at al-buyut and it's not plural. It's plural. You keep that in your mind. It's plural in the meaning. But when we're treating it as though we're looking at a singular feminine word, which means the word after has to be singular, has to be feminine. Otherwise, you would be treating it as plural. But here we're treating it as singular, feminine, because al-buyut is an irrational, broken plural. Okay. If it was a different word, then it would be a different case here. We'll do an example of that as well. So al-buyut is singular in grammar, but it's really plural. All right. We're treating it as singular and we're treating it as feminine. That's why it's kathiratun. So the meaning is the houses are many or plenty. So we're still translating it as a plural, but we're just treating the word as singular feminine. So we're using the word which is singular feminine here. Again, when we do more practice, that will come with time. But again, there are always going to be exceptions. I'm not going to mention all the exceptions, but one which may cross your mind is when we said definite followed by indefinite. So you might have both words which are definite. That can happen. So for example, I say huwa and I just say a name. Huwa Muhammadun. Now, both of them are rafa, both of them are singular, both of them are masculine, and both of them are also definite. Huwa is a pronoun, Muhammad is a name. So what happened to the rule of definite followed by indefinite? So sometimes, most of the time it applies, sometimes it may not. Okay, so we say he is Muhammad. Or you say huwa huwal mudarrisu. He is the teacher. We say huwa mudarrisun, he is a teacher. Huwal mudarrisu, he is the teacher. So sometimes that doesn't apply, but most of the time, I'm telling you, as a rule, definite followed by indefinite. Okay. But usually when you see a pronoun, you're most likely starting a sentence. So the next word will have is, are, am, whichever fits.
Yeah.
Any questions on that? No. So from next week from 9:30, we'll be doing simple sentences, more of them. But you've got exercises here. Please try and go through these exercises as best as you can. Again, this is going to come down to your vocab. So we'll do some together. The hardest part is going from English to Arabic. Arabic to English is easy. There's quite a lot. So your homeworks are going to be a bit longer now and a bit more intense. So let's do some practice. We'll start with simple ones. So let's do number one. Anyone volunteer to do number one?
Kitabu jadidu.
Jadidun.
Oh,
Al-kitabu jadidun wal qalamu qadimun. So here, see, we didn't say wa al-qalamu. Why did I not say wa al-qalamu? Yeah, so this al, the hamzatul wasl, right? So in the beginning, I say al, but here I don't say al because al is preceded by another word, wa. And what does it mean? What's the meaning of wa? And. There are different meanings, 2 or 3 meanings of wa, but the most common one is and. Wa. So al-kitabu jadidun. Is that a sentence? Yeah? So you put an is between it. And so the meaning is the book is new. Wal qalamu. Now you got another sentence. Wal qalamu qadimun. And the pen
It's old.
is old. Okay.
And you what does Qadim mean?
Old. Yeah.
demon.
Okay, so I'm going to skip number 2. I'm going to go on to number 3. So people always confuse madrasa with mudarrisa. Madrasa is school, mudarris is teacher. So al-madrasatu kabiratun. I want someone to go through the 4 things with me. Al-madrasatu and kabiratun. Have we got definite followed by indefinite?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the next thing you look at? Case ending, is it rafa? Yeah.
Yes.
Then number and gender. What's the number and gender of both of them?
May.
Masculine.
Is it masculine?
Feminine.
Ends with ta marbuta. Round ta means feminine.
Feminine, yeah.
Both of them are feminine and both of them are looking singular. Okay. Now, what I want you guys to do on a blank piece of paper or whatever, you've got the singular version there. I want you to give me the dual, and I want you to give me the plural. Now, madrasa, anyone know the plural of madrasa? So madaris. So this one is not like, normally when you have a ta marbuta at the end, like sayyara, you just say sayyaratun. Some words you can't do that with. So al madrasa, the plural of al madrasa is al madaris. Or if you do it without the al madaris, okay? And it doesn't have a tanween at the end, but here we put al madarisu. So what I want you to do is dualize, if that's a word, and pluralize the sentence. And pay attention when you make it into plural. Remember the rule about irrational plurals. So al-madrasatu kabiratun is singular. I want you to make it into dual. And then I want you to also make it into plural as well. I'll give you a minute. I'll be back just in a moment.
How much between the form of the dual? Or is it just the same thing? Dual and dual?
So dual, so it would be al-muda and madrasa. So you just do the rule, so it would be the alif noon at the end.
So it would be the one.
Alif noon at the end. Okay, dual. Madrasa and
Oh. Okay.
صورتها كبيرتها.
Broken. The sound was the plural was broken. Also, the dual would be as well. So follows the normal rule.
yeah, it's no dual.
Okay.
المدرسة
Sad.
مدرستها كبيرتها. يسوع. مدارس كبيرة.
Okay, have we done the dual one? What would the dual one be?
مدرستها كبيرتها.
No. Yeah, say that again.
المدرستان كبيرتان.
Yeah, so al-madrasatani kabiratani. So someone said al-madrasata kabirata, you drop the noon. There's no need to drop the noon. Al-madrasatani kabiratani. Now the plural is al-madarisu. What's the khabar gonna be?
كبيرة.
Kabirat. So you're missing the tanween at the end. Kabiratun.
Yeah, tun.
Al-madarisu kabiratun. Because al-madaris is plural, it's irrational, we treat it as singular feminine. So we use the singular feminine version here. Same here, if I said al-masajidu, what would, so al-masjidu saghirun, the masjid is small. Al-masjidani saghirani, the two masjids are small. Al-masajidu, what would you say here? No, the ending of, what would the khabar be if I said al-masajidu? The masjids. So al-masajid is plural, is irrational, which means you treat it as singular, feminine. Just like al-madaris, al-masajid. So you would say saghiratun. Yeah, saghirat, yeah. Try and pronounce it with the tanween at the end, saghiratun. Wal masajidu saghiratun. Okay, that was just an extra addition. Again, the rest, you do that. I'm going to leave that one there. What I want to do is this one here. This correction exercise. So we look at number 1. It says, Huwa sayyaratun. Why? First of all, we're assuming all of them are incorrect. Why is it incorrect?
The wrong
What's-
pronoun.
So huwa sayyaratun, what's the mistake there?
It's the wrong pronoun.
Huwa is
Yeah, wrong pronoun. So what is it not agreeing in? The gender, right? Huwa is masculine, sayyaratun is feminine. Because one is definite, the other is indefinite. Both of them are rafa, both of them are singular, but they have to also agree in the gender. So what pronoun should it be instead?
Yeah.
Yeah, sayyaratun. It is a car.
Mm,
Number 2, al-babu maftuhan. What's the mistake here? What's the mistake? Some of you are whispering the answers. You just need to be confident. I know you know it. Yeah. So the case ending of maftuh. So what should it be? Yeah. So it should be al-babu maftuhun. So the meaning would be the door is open. Number 3, Bayt al-Jadid. There's a lot of things wrong there. So how would you correct the sentence?
Al-Bayt.
Yeah. Yeah, al-Baytu. Yeah, al-Baytu
Bayt.
Jadidun.
Hmm.
Al-Baytu Jadidun. There's a lot going on there. Now, number 4, you could correct it in 2 ways. So what would you say? Ana tullab. Ana talibun. You could say, I am a student. Or you could say, actually, there's more than 2 ways. You could say, I am a student. Or you could keep tullab and you could say, we are students. You could say, nahnu tullabun. You could say, also, third option.
Yeah.
So you said ana talibun.
No,
We said nahnu tullab.
we make it feminine.
Yeah, oh, well, okay. You could say ana talibatun. That's third, fourth way then. If you keep the word tullab there. Hum tullabun. They are students. So you could correct that in more ways than one. Okay, number 5. Al-ma'u baridatun. What's the mistake there? Yeah. So what would the correction be? Yeah, so just make sure you don't pronounce it and mean with the al. So al-ma'u baridun. Al-ma'u baridun. And then number 6, huwa bintun should be. Bintun means girl or daughter. Should be hiya bintun.
Sorry, can you pronounce the 5 again? The correct one.
It'll be without the ta. Al-ma'u baridun.
Okay.
So the water is barid. What's the meaning of barid?
Cold.
Cold.
as changed to feminine and masculine.
Masculine, yeah. Again, most of this, this is going to be your vocab. So if you're not strong with your vocab, you might struggle a bit. And pronouns. So now you see pronouns going to become, you're going to have to force yourself to learn the pronouns now. So let's do this little exercise. I just want you to point out the attached and the detached pronouns. Let me just double check one thing. Okay. Question 3 on page 50. Let me just go back on that. What the question was. Question 3 on page 15, word for milk. We are using halib for laban. You could use whichever you want. Laban is the most common word for milk. All right, so leave the word ulaika for now, but can you see any pronouns in that sentence? Him, attached or detached? Attached. بأن ربك أوحى لها. Ka. Yeah. Anything else? Laha. Laha in laha. You know which exercise we're doing? The ayahs. Yeah. So Rabbaka, the ka in Rabba, and laha, the ha. That's attached pronoun. اذهب أنت وربك. Any pronouns there? Anta, detached pronoun. Any more? Yeah. Anta and ka go together. Now you got the hadith there. وَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ. Part of the hadith. لِدُنْيَا. You've got quite a few.
Ooh.
So say the whole word and what it's attached to as well.
Hijratuhu.
Hijratuhu, the who in hijratuhu. Yusibuha, the ha in the yusibuha. Again, yankihuha, the ha again. Hijratuhu, same again, and ilayhi. Okay, so sometimes we said the who can look like he, the huma can look like hima, the hum can look like him, based on what comes before it. Okay, من عمل عملا ليس عليه أمرنا فهو رد. Anything there? Any pronouns in that one?
Lehi.
Alayhi, the he in alayh. Huwa rad, yeah, huwa. There's one more there somewhere.
Amruna.
Yeah, amruna, the na in amruna.
Sorry, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
The E in the Ilahi, is it the
The he in ilayhi.
is it the attached of Uwa?
Yeah, so it's really who, but sometimes it's written as he. And we said last time, if there's a ya with a sukoon, or the letter has a kasra before it. So for example, we said kitabuhu, kitabahu, and then we said kitabihi. So sometimes the who becomes he, based on the letter before it.
Okay.
Right. So this is something eventually where I want you to be able to read without the harakas. This will only come if you know the word. And this is vocab. So let's attempt it. Once you learn the word, next time you will know the word. So huwa muslimun, there's a harakas already on there. Let's attempt the next one. Anta rajulun. Anta rajulun, which means you are a man. Next one.
Yeah.
Muslim.
Muslim. Muslim.
Muslima tun.
Yeah.
So always keep it rafa unless you have a reason to make it something else. So here, muslimatun. So now you know the word. Next one.
Ana
Talibun.
Yeah, ana talibun. So you've seen the word talib many times. Next one, if you've seen this word.
Imra'atun.
So imra'atun, yeah. Yeah. So I think imra'a starts with the hamzatul wasl, but we won't complicate it for now. We just say anti imra'a. Or if you join it, antim ra'atun. Okay, next, what's the wording? What's the meaning of imra'a? Woman.
One, yeah.
And then next one, antuma musliman. Both of you are. And then nahnu
Muslimuna.
muslimuna. Yeah, so those who've not done the word, you might struggle with it. But the part that you will know is the ending, una. Right? You see the waw noon, una. So nahnu muflihuna. What's the meaning of muflih? The successful ones. Okay. Let's leave it there for now. Inshallah, with time, we'll go through these exercises as well. But this is vocab, so try and learn your vocab as you're going along.
Yeah.
Okay, inshallah, we're going to stop here. I'll stop for questions if anyone has questions. Next week is verbs. So on verbs, we're probably going to spend maybe 2 or 3 lessons on verbs, and then we come on to the fragments. So yeah, verbs is good as well. So next 2, 3. And then the memorization we probably will put a bit of a pause on. So what have you got to memorize? Muslimun chart, you should know by now. Pronouns is something that you have to know. And then you'll have the verb charts. Once you learn them, you don't have to, you should not forget them, you remember them. So try and learn the pronouns for next week. The detached pronouns as a bare minimum, learn them. And then inshallah we'll do the verbs. 9:30 next week, inshallah, we'll do the reading. I'll send you the PDF. It's the Medina books, you probably have seen it before, but just focusing on the reading from there. Any questions? Everyone good? Everyone got words booklets, course booklets as well?
What's the homework?
So the homework is gonna start to increase a bit now. So you know when you see reading exercises, that's something we will try and do together in class, but I want you to practice it at home. So what you can do is put the harakas on yourself. So that could be the homework for you guys. But we're gonna go through that together in class. The homework will be, so you've got the page 15 and page 16. So 15 and 16. Try and do as much as you can. And any questions, we'll go through it together in class in the beginning. And those who can't make the extra half an hour session, I can't force you to come, but try your best. You're not going to miss out on the main lesson, but you're going to miss out on the practice because we don't really have much time to practice in class. So this is the only time we'll have practice, inshallah. So 9:30, we don't have that. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. The course and the work, both of them.
both of them, yeah.
Yeah, I'll mention it to start plan.